The Golden State Warriors are the greatest dynasty in the modern NBA. Their style of small ball and three-point shooting has taken the league by storm and has completely revolutionized basketball. And despite many teams having tried to quote-unquote copy them, none have been able to get the same results. 4 championships and 6 finals appearances has made them the envy of the league, and at the helm of this whole ship are the 3 future Hall of Famers, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Wardell Stephen Curry. The 3 of these guys didn't just change basketball though, they changed the very fabric of culture. Because of them, kids all around the world have completely fallen in love with the 3. Kids all around the world are doing the night-nights, and no matter where you go, no matter where you look, kids all around the world want to become the next Steph Curry. The saying on the street isn't "be like Mike" anymore, it's become "be like Steph."
Oh, and now Curry gets it right back from half court, and it's good!
Unfortunately, however, all good things must come to an end. That's just the way of life. As much as we'd all love for this dynasty of the Warriors to last forever, the harsh truth is, the end is coming. And it'll probably be here sooner than later. But the million-dollar question today is, when? Well, in this video, using the history of previous dynasties, using the history of previous players, current contracts, and the current construction of the roster, I'll attempt to predict the last dance of the Warriors. First off, in determining the Warriors' last dance, let's take a look at all the dynasties that have come and gone since the 90s. The Bulls were in complete control of the league in the 90s, and from 1991 to 1998, they completely ran through the NBA with 2 three-peats. The reason why they eventually broke up, however, was because of strains in relationships, and at the center of it all was their GM, Jerry Krause. Had it not been for this, who knows how much further the Bulls could have extended their dynasty. The Spurs, on the other hand, had a dynasty that spanned from 1999 to 2014. Unlike the Bulls, they never had a three-peat or even a repeat, but in the span of 16 seasons, they won 5 championships. The thing about San Antonio, however, is that they actually could have extended this dynasty run if they didn't have a fallout with Kawhi Leonard, but that's another topic for another day. Moving on here, the Lakers had a dynasty that spanned from 2000 to 2010, where they too won 5 championships. The reason why this dynasty ended was first because of a fallout between Shaq and Kobe, and then after 2010, other great teams started to take form. Now, I know averages aren't everything, but if we just take the average length of each of these dynasties, it comes out to just about 12 years per dynasty. Then to add on to that, just for some food for thought, one of the main culprits in ending each dynasty was fragmented relationships. Well, the Warriors dynasty started in 2015, and if we stretch that across 12 seasons, we have the year 2026, which is in 3 years. Then when it comes to fragmented relationships, the Warriors already had 2 fallouts with KD and Jordan Poole, and at the center of both of those was Draymond Green. But moving on here, let's now compare the Warriors with individual players. And with that being said, let's not kid ourselves. Just like how MJ was the dynasty of the Bulls and how Duncan and Kobe were at the center of the Spurs and Lakers dynasties, Steph Curry is the Warriors dynasty. As important as Draymond and Klay are, the Warriors revolve around Curry, and the dynasty starts and ends with him. So, Steph's 35 years old at the moment, so to predict how many more years he has left in him, let's compare how players of similar playstyles progressed as they aged. And for this forecast, we're not going to just use any players to compare with Steph. We're actually going to use 2 players who he modeled his game after, and that's Steve Nash and Reggie Miller. Well, when I pull up both of their statistics on Basketball Reference, surprisingly, both of them played until they were 39 years old. But as we can clearly see from those numbers, 38 was really their last good season when we're talking about efficiency. Sports medicine, though, has tremendously improved since the times of Nash and Reggie. Cryotherapy, for example, is now a tool that high-performance athletes commonly use to recover their muscles and tissues. Nutrition, physiotherapy, and everything else has also improved tremendously over the past decade. Given these, and given the fact that Steph just had one of the best seasons of his career, it's fair to say that he'll probably play at least a year longer than Steve Nash and Reggie Miller. But on the conservative side, if he plays just as long as Nash and Miller, that'll put his last All-Star caliber season at age 38. And age 38 puts us exactly 3 years from the 2024 season, which actually coincides with the number we had earlier, 2026. If you thought that was all the coincidences we'll have for today, though, wait until you see this next point, which is how the Warriors' contracts are currently set up. So, Steph's current contract ends in, you've guessed it, 2026. Klay's ends in 2024, while Draymond's ends in 2027. Well, when it comes to predicting how contracts turn out, anything can happen, as evident from the James Harden and Daryl Morey situation. But let's see if we can use logic to come to any conclusions here. I'm going to first off make the assumption that Steph, Klay, and Green will retire with the Warriors, which is pretty reasonable. The second assumption that I'm going to make is that Klay isn't going to retire at the end of 2024. This is actually incredibly reasonable too. I mean, he just led the league in three-pointers for 2023, and although he isn't the same player he once was, I see him signing another contract with the Warriors for at least 2 more years until 2026, which takes him up until he's 36 years old. Klay's a 6'6" sniper, and if we had to compare him with players of similar playstyles at this age, that'd be Ray Allen and Kyle Korver, who were both still playing at incredibly high levels at age 36, as evident from their NBA Finals appearances. Well, ain't that eye-popping? After taking a look at 3 modern NBA dynasties, after looking at the 2 players that Steph patterned his game after, and after looking at the current contracts of the Warriors, everything points to 2026. So I guess that highly suggests that the year 2026 will be the last dance of the Golden State Warriors, right? I mean, if not 2026, then 2027 for sure, right? Well, almost. There's one other factor that I gotta talk about. About 2026 should be the last dance of the Warriors, unless one of their young talents rises to the occasion. I'm talking about Jonathan Kuminga. I know he's still really raw at the moment, but the truth is, he's a 6'7" athletic beast who has shown tremendous improvements in his second year alone. People have already compared him with Kawhi Leonard. People have already compared him to Giannis, and according to Jason Tatum, Kuminga's going to be good for a really long time. Wiseman and Poole are now gone, and although Moody still has potential to fulfill, it's Kuminga alone who has the ability to extend the dynasty. And just like how Kawhi could have extended the Spurs dynasty, Kuminga is the only hope for the Warriors to extend their reign over the NBA. So that only means just one thing. Of course, the Warriors should still be completely focused on Curry's timeline, but at the same time, they should really start investing into Kuminga. He was clearly upset from the lack of playoff minutes he got in 2023, and then, as we've recently heard, he doesn't really have a relationship with the heart and soul of the team. Draymond Green needs to continue to being the vocal leader that he is, but at the same time, he needs to step up as a leader and ensure that another Kevin Durant and Jordan Poole incident doesn't happen again, especially with Kuminga. In any case, barring any major injuries, all indications lead to 2026 as being the last dance of the Steph Curry-led Warriors. Sheesh, guys. I don't know about y'all, but the NBA is going to look extremely weird in just a few short years. I mean, what does a Curry-less NBA even look like? Also, at that time, LeBron will probably be out of the league too, and so will KD, Uncle Drew, Harden, and Westbrook. I know the NBA is in good hands with some of the young talents in the league, but sheesh, are things gonna look weird or what?